But we will start on the back, just finding that nice, solid energy of the yoga mat, the floor beneath you. And taking any little fidgets so that you can really feel like you can let go here, right? You can let go of holding on to anything. For me, it's like taking things a little wider is going to be easier to relax and let go. Slowly find your breath. Like just bring it into your awareness. Feel it, see it, hear it. And you're probably noticing noises around you, or just noticing things in the room. Let's see if you can just keep that breath nice and steady in the nose, out the mouth. Good. Over the next few breaths, we'll let them get a little bigger. In the nose, filling into belly, then the chest. And then exhale like you're blowing out a candle. Sometimes it's helpful to place hands on the body to feel this. In the belly, then the chest. And then exhale, sigh it out. Good. Remember, my words are just cues. Take your time. One more in the nose, belly, chest. And sigh it out. Let your breath land in its natural belly breath here. Good. All right. If you are not in a half shavasana like I am, feet flat, we'll walk feet flat, knees to the sky. And then we'll hug one knee up and into your body, into your chest. So you can grab behind the knee if the knee feels squirrely. But noticing the more you kind of pull the knee in, the more your low back starts to round and stretch and open. Good. We're going to land this foot across the other leg and then invite the knee to the opposite shoulder. So a little pigeon-esque. Good. One more breath. We're going to let this foot land like figure four, knees starting to go a little wider. Now, you can put some pressure on this knee, kind of opening through the hip. I personally like when the hand goes really low, like as low as you can in your little hip crease, and then press a little bit. But you can find what feels good along the way here. And you might be like, I don't know, I don't really feel anything. You can just relax, let gravity do the work. All right, then we're going to play. See if you can reach opposite hand to that foot. You can hang on here or start to pick this foot up like we're bringing pigeon pose to our heart. So like figure four, right? But just with one foot here or one leg. Go where feels good. What's nice about being on the back is you can roam a little bit. You can sway side to side. You can kind of hug that foot in closer. Just a few breaths. Going slow enough to hear the body say, yeah, that feels good, or maybe not that today. Good. Last little shape before we switch sides. We're going to switch hands, grab the foot with the other hand, and open up like half lizard, half happy baby. And return to those big breaths. Remembering that the exhale is where we let all the tension out. Good. We'll slowly put this foot down and then invite the other knee up into the chest. So just a few moments straight through center. Each of these doesn't have to feel like a huge, huge, huge stretch, right? Just kind of see what you can access, even if it is pointing the toe, flexing the toe. Good. Now we'll set the foot on the opposite thigh, like you're reading the paper here, and bring the knee to the opposite shoulder. Big breath. Good. One more big breath here. And then we're going to let that knee start to open up out to the side. So you can just hang here. Lovely. Or you can start to place a little pressure maybe on that thigh. Good. We're going to invite it up like pigeon. So opposite hand grabs that foot and hugs in. Just exploring, I like to say, the little nooks and crannies here. Good. And then we'll switch hands and turn it into that kind of upside down lizard. Good. One or two more breaths. And then slowly we'll bring both feet down to the earth. All right. We're going to hug both knees in. Take your time. Use your core as you lift the knees. And one more time, you can hug tight. You can sway side to side. Good. One more breath. And then we'll take a supine twist. So you can let your knees land off to one side. Again, you'll feel you have to use your core here as you lower down. You can put your legs on blocks. You can put a block between the legs. See if it feels good to reach your arm in the opposite direction. And maybe after a few breaths, the head turns in the opposite direction as well. Good. All right, just for kicks, let's turn your head back to the sky and then explore taking your top leg like figure four here. So you can start to just slide your foot towards your top knee, and then maybe you can, and you might need to slide your knee down, right? Make little adjustments so maybe you can get a little figure four in the twist. I like to use my top hand to kind of anchor the ankle here. Anchor the ankle here. If it's too big, you can't breathe anymore, or sharp pains take your breath away, we'll just stack the knees as normal. One more breath. All right, use your core, pull belly button down, use your toes, use your elbows to come back to center. Hug both knees in. And then we'll take our twists for big 4 or 5 breaths. On this side before we build. Each breath, your body will give you a sensation of yes, like, yeah, it's tight, but yeah, it's still safe. It might be, ooh, that feels really good. Or it might be giving you a yellow light, slow down. I always try to use a bigger breath or kind of maybe engage the core a little more depending on what's going on. And then if that discomfort doesn't go away, that's the body saying no thank you today. And we just move around it, create a different shape, come out of the shape. No stories, no judgment, just listening to the body. One more breath. All right, we'll explore a little figure four here. So you can slide this top foot up or, slide the other leg down a little bit, meet in the middle. Find something that might feel nice. Little adjustments here. Nice. One more big breath. Good. We'll slowly come to center. Use your elbows, use your core, pull belly button in. And one more time, hug in for a moment. You can even bring your feet to the earth and windshield wiper if you'd rather. All right. I've come to my favorite part of any flow class. We're going to rock and roll. So today, since we're keeping it fairly mellow to start, we're going to grab behind the thighs and use your core. Lift your head, right? Use your core, use your hands, use your feet. So lots of energy kicking you forward. And you're not trying to get all the way up necessarily. You're just trying to rock, rock, rock. When you're ready, we'll land feet out in front. Good. Hands can come behind. And then we're going to windshield wiper the knees. So we'll float the toes maybe. And right now my feet are about hip width apart. And we're just going to slowly. Now, what usually feels nice is slowly letting the feet get a little wider. You're going to have to shimmy your hands a little bit. Eventually, the feet might get wide enough so that your knee can land inside. See if that feels good. All right, one or two more. Otherwise, I'm going to be all the way off my mat here. Good. All right, we're going to come to center and build a staff pose. So I'm just going to slide back. You can extend your legs if you got room in front. And once again, heels about hip width apart. Staff pose, we're not trying to touch their toes. We're trying to close. We're trying to make a 90-degree angle with our body. So use your fingertips to help find your sit bones, right? These are like scaffolding to support your spine at first. If it's really challenging to sit up tall, soften the knees, right? Take a little bit of that out. That actually feels lovely. So you might want to just try it in general. Because what happens is now you can really get on your sit bones and really stretch tall, which is probably the opposite of what we've been doing all day. All right. If you want, you can let the legs kind of land a little bit, and we're going to try to bring hands to heart. Don't lose that energy. So your belly button's pulled in, your shoulder blades are down the back. Big breath here in the nose. Out the mouth. All right, if you want, hands can go to the sky. So they can cactus, I like to interlace fingers and reach up, but that's a little big for everything. Shoulders, you'll just go slow if you want. Nice, one more big breath. And then slowly we're gonna bring hands down. Crawl the hands behind, walk your feet in flat, and one more time, just take a little shimmy. You don't have to go all the way down the mat again. Good job. We're gonna come around to tabletop hands and knees. Cat cow is next. Fingers ground to and pressed into the mat to protect your wrist. Drop the belly with an inhale. Round it out with an exhale. And try to sync your breath up back and forth. Drop the belly, inhale. Round it out, exhale. A few more rounds. Get lost in your breath. Feeling yes, honoring no. Side to side, circles, forearms, tuck the toes, anything you want here for a few breaths. Beautiful. Good. Child's pose is next. Big toes together and tune in. Do the knees want to be wide today? All right. Sometimes if there's any tweaking in the knees, I just adjust the width and that will sometimes help. You can put blocks under forehead, under belly, under your ankles or your hips. A few big breaths right here. And we're going to shift into an ujjayi breath. In the nose, out the nose. If it feels challenging, slow the breath down. Good. One more just like that. Good. Downward facing dog is next. We'll crawl hands forward. Tuck the toes. Lift the tailbone and drop the head. So a lot like staff pose, right? If you look at down dog from the side, it kind of looks like that shape. So feel free to bend the knees so that your spine can get longer. You're pressing out of your fingers, out of your elbows, out of your shoulders, right? Kind of the reverse of what we just did. Big breaths here, ujjayi, in the nose, out the nose. All right, ragdoll, first standing fold, walk forward. Nice wide stance. I go as wide as my mat, bending the knees, trying to rest your belly on your thighs, or you can use hands on blocks on earth. You can even use forearms on the thighs here. And see if you can relax from the low back, like a zipper, zipping all the way down, mid back, cervical spine and the neck. Just letting your head be like a little weighted pendulum extending down through the spine. Good. We're going to let's slowly roll to stand. So bend your knees a lot, like you're sitting in a chair. Get your leg muscles wide awake. Now take hands to thighs. Use your hands and your legs to roll up slowly. One vertebra at a time. Take a moment, land your eyes somewhere out in front. Big breath in. Exhale out the feet. We'll bring the feet underneath. Once again, that little line up between your sit bones, your hips, and your heels, right? Pressing down through mountain pose. So find the big toe, the little toe, the mound under the big toe, and then your heel. Press through all of those points, and you'll feel your arches wake up. They might not lift off the earth, but they'll wake up. Squeeze an imaginary block between your thighs. We're holding a marble in the belly button, right? We're holding it strong enough to keep it there, but not to lose our breath. We can still breathe in and out. Good. Shoulders rock down the back as you kind of puff up the heart. And then the crown is reaching nice and tall, just like we've been doing. Now, one thing here, if your legs are completely locked out, there's not a lot of energy to catch going side to side. So bending your knees, it's a strong bend as we go through sun salutations. This gives your back some freedom, right? We're not forcing our body into a right angle, more than a right angle. Here we go. Inhale, hands go high. Exhale, we're going to fold, bend the knees. Slowly find that fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold back in. Good. One more time. Inhale, reach to the sky. Sink your hips a little bit. Reach up. Exhale, cactus. Squeeze your tush, squeeze belly button in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we fold. Bend the knees. Good. Drop the head and then inhale halfway. Fold back in. One more just like that. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, we'll cactus. Squeeze the body as you puff up hard. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Good job. Halfway lift. High plank, top of the push-up. So hands ground. You can crawl to your knees or your toes. Wherever you land, shoulders over wrist, press through the fingers, pick up your marble. It's the same energy as that mountain pose. Feet, thighs, belly button. Slide your shoulders down your back. One more breath. We're going to lower for 3 cobras, my second favorite part. Land the knees, land the hips. Inhale, peel your shoulders up. Exhale, forehead to floor. Now, each one you can get a little bigger or stay right where you're at. The body will tell you. Hands can slide back, belly button pulls in more. Big ujjayi breath. Last one, inhale up. Exhale down. Use your core like a push-up. Tabletop. Child's pose. One more breath here. Good job. We're going to come to downward facing dog. And then feet together in your down dog. We're going to pick up one foot. Just stretch it, make a circle, and then switch. Good. One more. And then when you're ready, we're going to take a big step, right foot forward into warrior two. So warrior two, front toes, front knees straight ahead. Back foot's kind of making a hard edge for you to use. Toes pointed off to the side. Find what feels good in the hips. You can scooch the toes further to sink in. Hands can stay low or full expression, eyes right over the front hand. Good. Inhale, reverse. And then exhale to side angle. Front elbow to the thigh, top hand to the sky. Using this bottom shoulder not as like you're just kind of relying on it, right? If that were to slip, your whole shape would probably go. Pushing up out of the shoulder. Good, one more breath. Rise up to warrior two. Lengthen through the front leg. We're going to do a reverse triangle with a bind. So front hand reaches up more than back. This is the reverse triangle part. Now, if you want opposite hand, the low hand comes behind you into a half bind. So you're kind of reaching your hand behind you as you reach your other hand to the sky. Press through your feet. Now, if you want, keep the half bind behind your back. We're going to go back to side angle. So you'll bend the front knee. Front elbow to the thigh, and you can keep this here and kind of just keep reaching back. There is a way to build a full bind here. Eventually, front hand might find back hand. But I always remind people it's intended to be a heart opener. So if it's too much to really open the heart, grab a towel, grab a yoga strap, or just skip it. One more breath. You got it. Warrior two, unwind slowly, reaching. Use your front thigh. Good, wide leg fold. Turn the toes towards the long edge. And our second standing fold here. So legs can be a little straighter, a little longer. You can bend into one side. Good. You have a few more big breaths to just follow yes on or no. Good. All right, slowly we're gonna build low lunge twist at the top of the mat. So crawl to the top. You can use your back toes or land the knee. I'm gonna land my knee. And then right arm's gonna bow and arrow up to the sky. So elbow leads like you're pulling back that bow. If your elbow can get all the way to the sky, then maybe hand goes up. Or you always have hand on hip or half bind on this side. So take your time. What feels good here? All right, we're gonna take a big step to down dog. Use your core, hands to the earth, belly button pulls up. Big breath in. Big breath out. Other footsteps forward, warrior two. Warrior two, the energy's in two directions. Like someone's kind of inviting you from both edges. Good, reverse breath in. And then traditional side angles. So front elbow to thigh. And then traditional is top hand straight to sky. Maybe just focus on the feet, the hips, and really finding how much core you have to activate to not have to use that front elbow so much. All right, use your feet, rise up, warrior two. Lengthen through the front leg. Reverse your triangle. And then option for low arm to come behind, half bind. Few breaths, press to your feet, like you're reaching for the sky. One more breath. All right, tune in slowly. Bend into the front knee to find side angle. Maybe the back arm stays. It can always slide to the hip, right? Find what feels safe enough to stay in it. 2 more breaths. Good. Top hand down, low lunge twist. Bow and arrow, take your time. Now, after doing binds on both sides, the first one might have felt amazing. And the second and third might be like, that's a lot. It's okay, feel it out. That's normal. One more breath. Big step back to down dog. Use your core, lift your hips, get your hips high. There you go, big breath. Look forward, walk forward. Good, inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we're gonna do an itty bitty balance sequence. You can, if you have a block that's good and sturdy, you could use this for like balance if you want. Otherwise, we're gonna start by hugging one knee up. So kind of like the sequence we did on the back. So we'll float one knee up. So again, you could hover, you could put your toe here in balance, or you could grab behind the thigh or the knee. You could hug all the way up. Go nice and slow. Good. Maybe you invite that out to the side. So you can use muscles or invite your hand to help. 3, 2, back to center. And then we'll land this foot, release, shake, shake. Good job. Perfect. And then we'll try the other side. So don't go fast, go slow. Slow reminds us that there's no perfect, right? We have to tune in, notice when we're shifting one way, tune in back to the other. By going slow, we have time to hear the body's answer for whether it's ready for this pose. Maybe knee goes out to the side. And then back to center. Both feet to the earth, ground, shake it out. Good job. All right, we're going to build the figure 4 now standing. So standing pigeon, figure 4, it is the crisscross, like you're making a 4. So a couple things, wake up your toes. Flexing your toes wakes up the muscles and the tendons around your knee. Well, the muscles mainly around your knee. And then that protects your tendons and your bones and whatnot. So you can just practice standing tall, lock your eyes somewhere, hands at heart is good. If you start to bend, you'll start to feel a little stretch in that leg, but also a little fire. And then there is a way to take your hands down to your block or to the earth, a fold. We have a few more breaths. Don't force it, don't rush it. And by all means, save enough energy in the tank to get back up. One more breath. Try to get up if you folded before you unwind that leg. Ooh, shake, shake, shake. Good job. And then we'll play on the other side. Nice and slow. Starts with the standing foot, then find a drishti. And I've said it before, this leg that's on top, right? That leg's not on the earth, so it has nowhere to put its weight. So really stand your leg, like really stand your body weight leg on this thigh, as if you were going to push down and stand up on that leg. That gives that energy somewhere to go. It kind of strengthens the foundation of the shape. A few more big breaths. Good. All right, if you went down, come on up. Use your legs, stand tall, lock your eyes. And then at the top, we'll shake, shake, release. Good job. Mountain pose just for a moment. Back to where we started. The foundation of so many other things. Ujjayi breath if you lost it during the balance. Good. Inhale, hands swoop up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. High plank. And then we're going to lower for one cobra, or you could chaturanga or cat-cow. And then child's pose, take your time. Good. One more big breath. Alrighty, we have one more standing sequence. We're going to slowly come back to warrior two. Right foot in front, sorry, friends. All right, one more shoulder bind. If you have a towel or a yoga strap, which I often do but don't have one right now, you can use that behind the back. Otherwise, you can grab forearms. You could interlace the hands. And then the idea is that you squeeze your shoulder blades. Now your shoulders are rolled back, and then you maybe start to lengthen the hands. So we have this shape, right? Puffing up the heart and your warrior two. You can add on into humble warrior. So if you take hands and hips, right, it's a big shape. You're bringing front shoulder, right shoulder to front thigh. It can bypass, or if you want, you can stay tall, leave the hips out of it, or let your hands land on your hips and just drop your head here. One more breath, big shape. Okay, use your feet, rise up, warrior two. Nice. Lengthen through the front leg, traditional triangle, front hand to the thigh. Same thing, bottom hand is helping you take up more space versus like just prop you up, right? Whole body's working together. Of course, that half bind is here. Or maybe it feels good to overhead instead. All right, top hand down, back foot in for pyramid pose. So both feet are kind of giving us energy to go straight ahead a little more. They don't have to be exact. I like feet nice and wide as hips. And again, you can bend your knee like ragdoll and really melt down. Big ujjayi breath. All right, we're gonna build a revolved triangle. So from here, our spine is round. We wanna get it nice and long like that staff pose that we did seated. See, hips go back, head goes nice and long. Your block is super helpful here. Right hand is gonna bow and arrow or land on the hip. If you want, you can keep going. Pull belly button in, big breath. Press through the feet. Good. One more time, wide leg fold. Just for a moment, drop the head. All right, so we're gonna build a goddess pose, horse stance. Heels in, toes out. This time, use your hands again. Climb up if you like. I cannot resist wringing out. It's kind of like we've been doing with the shoulders. You put your hands on your thighs, and when you let your body weight drop, your hands start to push into your hips. It's like frog, but in a different plane. Of course, instead, if you'd like to burn a little fire, hands at heart and just stay still in this shape. We're all going to meet there in a moment. All right, here we go. Press through the feet, belly button hugs in. Using the feet now instead of the hands. Belly breath here. Burning off any excess energy we don't need to take with us to bed or tomorrow. One more big breath in. Nice. One more time. Toes forward, fold forward. We'll wide leg fold. Crawl to the top and build down dog. So just crawl hands to the top. Right foot comes to the back of the mat. Big breath in. Big breath out. When you're ready, left foot builds warrior two. All right, so option for humble or any piece of humble, right? You can just do the shoulders, you can just do the legs, or add them together. I like to take them together until my shoulders say no. Some days they're like, yeah, that's cool. And some days about halfway, I'll just land my hands on my hips. Hit one more big breath. Good. Slowly rise up to warrior two. Use your legs. Woohoo! Land here, big breath. We'll straighten through the front leg. Triangle pose. Okay, one more big breath in. Top hand down, back foot in for our pyramid pose. So little bunny hops until you find the right spot. Heel is grounded. Maybe you have more than one block. That's always nice. Breath by breath, folding over that long leg. One more breath. And then slowly we'll lengthen and then build our twist here. So left hand bow and arrow, or maybe it stops at the hip. Get really long. Don't force. Big breath. Nice. One more. All right, one more time. Wide leg fold. Unwind. All right, only for those that really want it. You can take one more option of interlacing hands behind the back in this shape. But again, sometimes doing something over and over, it actually, you're like, oh, I've never been able to go this far, or find this much freedom. But some days it takes it too far. So you have to feel into each one. Good. Land the hands to the hips if you went. Goddess pose, heels in, toes out. Take a moment. You can use your hands or build a little fire. Pressing through those points in the feet we practiced earlier. Big toe, little toe. Mound under the foot and the heel. Good, one more breath. Nice. Toes forward, fold forward. Wide leg fold. One more time. Crawl to the top, high plank, top of your push-up. And then nice and slow, we're gonna lower for one cobra. Inhale, open heart. Exhale to child's pose. Few big breaths, good job. Once again, slow that ujjayi breath, long exhale. Okie dokie. So we are going to build a camel pose. Lots of options. You can stay down low. You build rock pose first, where we try to sit on the heels. And then again, you could wring out the shoulders. Now, option that might feel similar but not as tough on the shoulders is place your fingers facing you and start to kind of lean back, almost like a reverse tabletop or kind of a little supported fish. Or you could build a full camel, standing up nice and tall, maybe block between the thighs so that you keep everything hugging into center. Hands go in your hip pockets. Keep your breath. It's not about touching your heels or going anywhere specific. It's about engaging the back of the body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze so the front of the body opens. One more big breath. Good. Tuck your chin, pull belly in, and then take what naturally wants to happen. Is it child's pose, rock pose, cat cow? I like this variation on the elbows of cat cow. Slowly, we're going to come around to your back. Take your time. We have landed in the bridge, back bend, heart opener sequence. So when you're ready on the back, we'll build 2 active bridges. Now, if you are doing this after a long day of standing or sitting, at least give one of them an active bridge, because I know we all like a supported bridge where we rest our hips. You can do that on the next one if you want, but at least one good bridge pose. This one shows up in almost all of my classes because most humans sit. And so it's not about bending our back, it's about squeezing the glutes, squeezing the inner thighs like you're holding that block. Belly button's got the marble. Shoulders can start to walk down your back a little bit or walk towards each other, but we'll take 2 or 3 more big ujjayi breaths. It should burn like a plank. Good, one more big breath. Good job. Slowly, vertebra by vertebra, we'll land the hips. Take one breath before you wiggle. And then you can slowly windshield wiper, kind of take whatever you need. We're going to build one more. So tune in, you, your body, your breath. Build bridge. If you didn't do a ton of sitting today and you want to land your hips, it's still beautiful for sitting actually, but you really want to get the glutes awake here. Last few breaths, wake up the posture muscles between the middle of the back. Nice, one more. Good, softly land. Maybe take a breath before you wiggle. All right, we'll hug knees in gently. If you want a happy baby shape for a moment, you can. All right, we're gonna rock and roll up. This is our core bit. So like before, we used hands, feet, we used them a lot, right? We're still gonna always use our core in order to rock. But this time you can use your hands a little less or kick your feet a little less, right? Just making your core do a little more. 3, a 2, and we'll land in a seated shape. We're gonna bring, all right, we're gonna build either double pigeon or sukhasana, which is crisscross applesauce. So double pigeon in a textbook, the shins are trying to stack. I'm going to turn this way, right? The shins are trying to stack over each other, right? So in a textbook, the shins are parallel to the front of your mat and parallel to each other. This top foot is not squished down off to the side. You want to give it a good flex like before so that the knee is safe. You can put blocks where they need to go. Some people like to sit up on blocks for this before they build. It's a big shape. Since we're not in a textbook, I like to slide my heels in a little bit. If this is not landing, slide your foot into crisscross applesauce. So you can cross at the ankles or land one foot out in front, as long as you find your sit bones evenly. Whatever shape you've landed in, you can stay tall or slowly build into a fold, elbows or forehead on blocks. We are not here to force ourselves into some future version of ourselves. We're not here to change ourselves. We're here to honor what's happening right here, right now. Right? Some days, certain poses feel amazing. And based on life and where you've been the last few days, weeks, months, some poses don't feel so inviting, and that's completely normal. Right? We're not here to perfect each pose so that we advance to some bigger sequence. The poses have been the same for a very long time for a reason. We have 3 more breaths here. Very slowly take what you'd like to switch sides. You can just extend legs out in front, shimmy, shake, shake. And then we'll build on the other side. So, right, the general rule of thumb is to try to create similar to what you did on the other side. But if the body says no, we move around it. Right? The other part of this is that our body has no idea what the textbook says. No clue. It just knows whether it feels safe and supported in the shape. Right? How are you breathing? Are you honoring the nose when they're showing up? Or are you just pushing through them? Or, right, we might be so up in the mind we're not paying attention to what the body is saying. When we come to the mat to honor what is, We are telling our body we're on the same team, right? And this is actually what speeds up growth, right? This is what actually amplifies the work, right? You're bobbing and weaving with the body. When the body feels good, you go, go, go. When the body needs rest, you rest, rest, rest. A few more breaths. Slowly, we will start to unwind this side. Shake, shake, shimmy, shimmy. All right, we're going to take an inversion. So we're coming to the back. If you have a wall or a couch, you could swing your legs up the wall or couch. I like a block under the hips. If you don't have a block, use your hands just to kind of float them under the edge of the hips so that your feet float. I have been swimming a lot in not just listening to the body, but when it says no, noticing, witnessing how I respond. Like, do I actually listen? Do I wait until it starts screaming, right? Some areas of life I'm really good at honoring it, especially on my yoga mat. It's off the mat that sometimes I'm like, oh man, I do want another cup of coffee. Another cup of coffee sounds great. Even though the body's saying no, thank you. Right? Even though the body's saying, I need extra sleep, but it feels like I'm being lazy or I should be doing other things. Right? Just witnessing it, a little experiment. When you're ready, when your body tells you, you can release here, and we're going to take a final twist. So, any of the shapes we built earlier, or any of your other favorite twists, both knees, a figure four. Maybe getting the upper body involved by reaching and turning. We can return to in the nose, out the mouth, big belly breaths. This belly breath is telling the body it's safe to shift into rest and digest. Good, one more breath. Slowly use your knees, use your core to slowly switch sides. One more breath on this side. Get back to center. Land here, half Shavasana. Just kind of align your hips. Align your shoulders. And then we'll take a supine butterfly for a few moments. Feet together, knees wide. You can always put blocks underneath the thighs. Maybe landing hands on the body to, at least at first, just tap back into your natural pace of a belly breath. You can stay right here or over the next 4 minutes or so. You can wander your arms wide, legs long whenever your body asks you to. Slowly just bring awareness back into the room, back into the body and in the breath. Maybe a big cleansing breath in the nose, out the mouth if you'd like. And then if you haven't, we'll extend the legs long so that we can roll to one side fetal pose. Use your top hand to help press up to that easy pose that we did so many shapes supporting today, Sukhasana. You can close the eyes or bring your awareness to one spot out in front. And just tune in. Notice what is, notice what's here. Are the sensations asking for something next? Or maybe they're just saying thank you. Thank you for showing up. We'll close with namaste. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you next time.